of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ask for a roll call.
Downer?
Here.
Johnson?
Here.
Lees?
Here.
Young? Covert?
Here. Thank you. Entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So move.
Support.
Motion and support. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We have our consent agenda. I entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve is presented.
Support.
Motion and support. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We'll go to council and staff reports. Greg?
Thank you, Your Honor. Just a few things for tonight. I was invited to speak with Qantas tomorrow at noon, so I've got a city update put together. So looking forward to that. We're in the process of doing staff evaluations. And the budget is underway as well. The budget calendar that was sent out, that we didn't have any negative comments, so we're going to shoot for the 29th for that all-day workshop, and then we'll finalize this and send it out to you, so you have all the dates for the budget process. Get that taken care of. Engineering presentations from the students. I don't have a date yet. The individual groups are supposed to coordinate directly with us, but it will be in town. Their presentations will be here at City Hall in council chambers. And so as soon as I have more on those dates, I'll let you know. And the public will be invited. You know, it's open to the public and certainly council and staff as well. That's just the 3 engineering projects that we have. We have a park meeting set up with the committee, so the committee can provide input with the 2 students that are doing the trailhead planning and design work. That's next week on the 12th, so make sure that we get committee input into that as well. Mentioned the budget already. Comp plan and planning and zoning, we're going to be working to come up with an open house, most likely in February for the comp plan, and tentative goal is to have that to planning and zoning, or both of them, by the 26th of February, or the 20th. Excuse me, yeah, tentatively the 26th of February. The zoning ordinance will require some legal review. Other than that, but in between there'll be the public sessions. You'll be getting emails from me with draft information, etc., coming out. So that's our target date at this point in time, and things will change based on input, etc. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Public Works?
We're done jetting sewers. We had someone down here to TV some lines last week, problem lines. And we're going to move on to cleaning intakes, storm intakes, starting at the end of this week, into next week. And all about it, all we got.
Okay. I want to pass on to you a thank you. There was some citizens here in town that appreciated having a notification that you were going to do the sewer jetting, because they've had problems in the past, and they said they really appreciated it this year. It was much better for them.
Oh, we're working on more of that, so hopefully for the future.
What did you say you had people down here and they were doing what?
We had a couple sewer lines that were backed up, and we had them TV'd, and one just needs some roots cut out of it, and another's cracked, so on Houston.
So do we have a water main break too?
Yeah, I forgot about that. We did have a water main break on Mount Pleasant and Cottage Grove, but it went smoothly and taken care of, so.
Your Honor?
Yes.
On the sewer, Chase has also been digging into that issue of blow-ups, or whatever you want to call them as well. Talking with a few other folks, contractors, et cetera, and we have another gentleman coming down. I can't remember who he's from next week.
He's from DeWitt. I can't remember what the company is, but he's sells jet trucks, and he's going to come down and look at what our setup is and make sure everything is correctly on our side, so. But I also talked to other cities, and they said they have the same problem, so.
But there seems to be two main causes, I guess is what it's coming down to, for these issues. And one is venting, proper venting, which is probably a problem in some of these older homes, which is, I think, mainly who you have on your list as well. And if your lateral is coming in to the main too flat, if it's not coming in at a bit of an angle, those appear to be the two main causes for the blow-ups. We're going to put, there'll be information in your update this week, a little bit more detail on that, but then I guess the plan we're looking at is to put together information to put out on social media, the website, et cetera, but then to send the list that Public Works has, those homeowners or property owners, information on all three of those, on all of our findings, and kind of summarize it for them and make some recommendations as well. But venting and proper venting and the lateral seems to be the two main causes for that, once we can eliminate the jet vac.
So does it matter which way you're blowing the sewer out? Whether the laterals are coming in this way or that way? Could that be part of it?
I probably could be. We have the truck turned all the way down. So the pressure on the truck's turned all, it's not like we have it, you can turn it up a lot more than what it is right now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and we always go the same direction. So people say it's lateral, like the lateral that's coming in could be too flat, and that means there's too much pressure going in. I'm not sure, but we're going to try to figure it out.
So are the blow-ups occurring on the residence side of the blow-up?
Right, and it sounds like it mainly due to this venting issue. It could be the laterals as well, but if the vents aren't being, if the sewer gases aren't properly being vented, then in the home, or they don't have proper vents, or don't have vents at all, there's nowhere for that gas to go, so it blows up.
I just know we have a problem.
Yes, and it's been confounding, but trying to do, Casey's been doing some digging, and we'll continue to do so. We want to put some information out to folks.
Communication helps, for sure.
Yes.
You know, so you can put your toilet seats down and stuff, but maybe I'm the only one that, for some reason, this happens to everybody in my family and all the rentals they own, but it seems to be like pretty widespread, people around me at least, that.
How many do you have on your list? Do you recall off the top of your head? 30 something?
I think less than that.
Less than?
Isn't less than 30.
I would say probably about 15 at the most.
I
Yeah.
think 15 to 20.
All your family.
It's not all my family. I'm just, you know, I hate to start naming names at a public meeting, but.
They do, I mean, they encourage you to have somebody take a look at your venting. They encourage you to have somebody camera your system, make sure there's not, you know, those blockages.
Yep.
I mean, if you get that sewer smell, run some water in there, get the traps filled back up. I mean, those types of things. So we'd like to get more information, just for the public at large, but then specifically for those folks. So
Yep.
whatever we can provide to help. And then if I don't think it's the sewer jet myself. So that's why we're just trying to dig into the matter, so.
Okay, thank you.
Sounds like a plan.
Police Department?
We had 2 accidents in the city on Monday with the snow. We had 18 total in the county, so we have the application still open for the administrative assistant. That closes on Friday, December 13th at 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. And then we're doing Toys for Tots for the fire department this Friday, where we'll go out with the Marines. We raised $7,000 the other day when we were out, so quite a bit under what we normally raise, but still a very good showing for our community, assisting with the children that are in need and helping us out, try to raise as much money as we can for them.
Anything from fire specifically?
We were very busy on Sunday. We had 10 calls. We had 2 fire calls. We had 1 mutual aid call in Danville, and then we had about 25 acres of cornfield that burned on Sunday afternoon. I called Danville and Burlington in for mutual aid to help us with that because of the wind and the direction it was heading. It started on Beaverdale and was heading towards Sunset in that big field there just by the freeway. We burned about 25-30 acres, no damage, but it just took us about an hour and a half to get it all out, and got all the corn cobs that were still burning, make sure those were all out. So it took us a little while, but we got a pretty quick knockdown on it.
Anything from building, Greg?
You'll have your November stats and your weekly update. I believe the 16th is the tentative final walkthrough with Ryan Nagraki's apartments for the final complex. I think it was the 16th.
Yeah, Monday.
And Mark's also been out on a regular basis at the senior residential project, and they're moving along at a good pace as well. So Jill stays in contact with I guess there's a new project manager introduced himself and did some walkthroughs. So.
Okay. Thank you. Finance?
We're on budget.
Yeah, okay. Let's see, go to council reports then. If I missed anybody, they can speak up. Ringo?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Okay. Andy?
I'll be quick. I wanted to say thank you for bringing the drug dog out by the West Burlington School District there a couple weeks ago. I think that's a good thing to introduce the kids to, and also to have regularly through the district. Also happy to see the VA clinic's been publicly announced now, and excited to have that here in our community. Wanted to remind everybody that the Chamber Public Officials Reception's next Tuesday. We're planning on going to that. And then I'm hoping maybe tonight we can unofficially name whoever's taking my seat on the CVB board, if we could add that somewhere to take a show of hands.
If there's a volunteer tonight, we can put it on for official council action, but I think you've got a volunteer to your right, unless there's any others.
I'll do it.
John?
Excellent, thank you. Well, that's, you do get to make some decisions on where our hotel motel funds are being spent and how the tourism guide looks for the area and things like that, and get to speak up about the community. Either Greg or I normally speak at that every other month, and just for a couple minutes and tell them what's going on. So it's a worthwhile thing, but that's 5 years I've done that, so happy to hand it off. Thank you. Yep, that's all.
Okay, thank you. John? Anything?
No, I don't have anything. Really.
Okay.
No.
Nope. Okay. As you well know, our library representative on the board frequently comes and gives you information. So I thought I would at least mention that if you aren't getting this newsletter from the library, you should. There's a number of things in there that are especially interesting, and one of them is that Bel Canto will be performing at the library a week from this Saturday. Also, that if you have any need for technology help, they now are doing it every day.
Go that way.
They were just doing it on Tuesdays, but now it's a daily thing, so. Also, the BHS choir is going to be performing this Friday, and that they have a mocktails and me time, which apparently is not alcoholic, so. Also, that the director of the library pointed out, there's some, quite a bit of usage with the library, that they've had over 20,000 people who have attended their events. They've had over 300,000 islands checked out by the community. They've had over 4,000 people in meeting rooms through reservations, and over 100,000 visitors passing through the doors of the library. So it's a good place. So I'll mention that. And with that, I'll move on to any reports from the community. Seeing none, then we'll move to new business. Our first item is to consider professional services agreement with Snyder and Associates for construction engineering services related to the Spring Street Water Main Replacement Project.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion on this? I think we've talked about it a few times.
Page 2 kind of provides a brief summary in paragraph 3, just of what those construction administrative services consist of. Observation will be limited by Sean, who usually does our observation. City staff will attempt to do as much as possible. So most of the work will be on the admin side of things, those items listed in paragraph 3 there. And then have Sean down and once a month or as needed.
Any other discussion? If not, call for a roll call vote on this.
Overt,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Please.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 2, consider payment to Snyder and Associates for supplemental engineering services related to Phase 2 of the Gear Avenue Trail Extension Project.
Your Honor.
I was waiting for a...
I understand. I was wondering if council would be willing to waive the procedures and have discussion prior to a motion.
Yeah,
Be happy to waive it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So you've had this information for quite a while, but we wanted to make sure that the project was closing out, and they provided some additional information regarding the closeout and overall cost to the city for the project, and it looks like it right now I think is around $80,000. We don't have the final pay app yet, but you do have a breakdown of their additional costs, that spreadsheet that they provided on there as well. But net with quantity adjustments up and down and change orders, I think we ended up roughly around 80-some thousand, Angie, $84,000 over?
Yeah.
Around there. Based on the last draft that we saw for the final pay app request. Snyder Associates put forward their request for $24,000 for additional work, and you'll see that in paragraph 3. They've listed out first of all, some of the additional costs, pros and cons that they had included in here. Their Excel spreadsheet lists out some of the additional services and the work that they cut out. If you recall, I was struggling with this a bit myself. Not that they haven't done the work, but whether, but these costs are not costs that we can push off onto the contractor. We don't have control when they call or the contractor needs clarification on materials, clarification on design. But I do struggle with some of these additional costs, which are laid out on the bottom of page 53 there on the right-hand side. The topo survey certainly makes sense, but more contractor questions really, to me, should have been factored into the agreement. More observation than was planned. Yes, there was additional observation, and I can understand that, especially with the bridge and the issues that we had related to that. More vouchers than anticipated. They knew up front that the DOT allows for either one per month or two per month, and that's up to the contractor, not to the city or the engineer to choose if they want paid every 2 weeks or once a month. But they knew that in advance going into it. Significant time reviewing incomplete or non-compliant material resubmittals. This is based on their, the work that Snyder did, and their design work. And added work for days to the construction contract. Those numbers to me come out to closer to 13,000. Excuse me, $11,040, which is a difference of $13,494 roughly, but they are asking for the rounded number of $24,000. So it's a tough one. The work was done, and I wanted to make sure that that was clear. The work was done, and I guess just the question is if we pay the $24,000 or if we pay something less than that.
So did they tell you that it was on an overrun from the beginning? Or did they just
They said they were
surprise you?
getting close, yes. Yep. But then, yeah, the survey work, yeah, the additional bridge work, they had to do the topo survey to make sure that it, for ADA and drainage in a couple areas, to make sure that it was working. Some of these things, I think they should have factored into the cost, and others, I think, are clearly adequate. All of the work was done. I have no doubt in that respect. So I do struggle a little bit with that.
But work being done doesn't mean that they shouldn't have put it in different places. You know, been there and not done other things for the latter. I mean.
It's a little bit different than, because it is a DOT contract, we have very little control over the contract terms. We don't have control, we have no ability to charge back to the general contractor. There were delays in the project, as you know, especially with the bridge. It's a much more complicated process or project with the bridge, and I think that's where a lot of the questions came in once they got downhill. There was a few issues with workmanship and materials down there, but the project essentially closed up. I'd like to get it closed up here in December or January, not carry it over to next year. The work is done and complete. The project's essentially complete. Hoping the grass comes in a little bit in a few areas, but if not, it's something we can address in-house.
So just let me make this clear, or get it clear. When we got close to the budgeted amount, they said that they told you that they were going to overrun, or they went ahead and told you at the end of the project that it was an overrun?
What I've seen, John, is in that last meeting when they were here and we questioned them, and we had the full packet in front of us, there was emails dated as they hit certain percentage marks. So we knew as they went, like, hey, we're at about 25% of what we budgeted, and then at 50 and 75 and like at 90, and so there was emails along the way. I couldn't tell you the dates of them off the top of my head, but they were checking in.
But the project, but you just don't know along the way what the issues are that are going to pop up. I guess the question is, what's appropriate to be paid for under the contract, and what should they have anticipated under the contract for some of those items? So, I mean, they've had this number towards the end of the project, the $24,000, but, you know, didn't review it until much later in the process.
I remember when they were down here, the two thoughts I was left with is, it was, I don't remember the dollar amount, but I remember X amount I had in the column of, oh, they should have quoted that and they didn't. That should have been in their original, and it wasn't. And then the rest of it was, well, they couldn't have known that.
Right.
And it was things caused by the contractor and.
State, right?
Yeah, that were not their fault, and we don't have the ability to go back on the contractor and get the money back. So, everything for me fell in one of those two buckets. So to me, the unquoted stuff we would have had to pay for anyway if it was in the original quote. And I don't know how you don't pay them for work that was caused by these contractors.
But we shouldn't pay for what they should have anticipated. Because they should have anticipated.
I mean, I would have rather it had been in the quote, so we knew that originally. Agree.
But as you said, we would still wound up paying for it.
Whether we knew it in the beginning or knew it now, we would have had to pay for it.
It just seems like it's lowballed and then it's in the middle of the project and then we're stuck with it. And I don't like that.
I guess, I don't think that's the case. This was it ended up being a complicated process, more complicated than it needed to be from my perspective. Now, the bridge, I'll give them, but they did find some savings for us along the way. The paving could have been done differently. They could have allowed for concrete instead of asphalt. They wish they had done that, 2/3 through the project, but, then they saw the value at that point in time of doing slip form paving versus all of the handwork that they had to do. Well, a little late in the game and that was the contractor, not the engineer, to recognize that, because we asked up front about switching to concrete versus asphalt and tried to do the slip form paving, which made a lot of sense to do that. And it's, at least the internal piece, the internal curb to the internal curb, that whole stretch in the inside, they could have done a slip form paver rather than doing all handwork all the way down, which would have saved time and money. And they admitted that, the contractor did. We got our money's worth from Sean, the inspector out there. He was out there on a daily basis, and it's not their fault that sometimes they did 1 hour, spent 1 hour doing pours, 3 hours doing pours, not doing an 8-hour pour. We have no control over those means and methods. So, I mean, I understand their request. They were out there, and we simply don't have control over those issues or those items.
The only other thing I'd say is, though I don't like them, basically every project of this size is gonna have some overage. I wish they didn't, I wish they all had underages, but I've never done anything where we haven't had that, whether it be a new house or a new road, or there's always things that pop up during it that weren't in the original quote. So I guess I kind of going in, expect some amount of us at the end going back and having to allow for that, but.
And we did find some savings. Most of those showed up in quantities. You'll see in the final change order as well, and the information that was handed out previously. So we were able to come up with some savings along the way. Not what we would have liked to, but is what it is. They could have been here tonight. They chose not to be here tonight. They just did the one presentation when Dax was here. And he just specifically said he wasn't going to attend tonight. So
I think we should go ahead and pay it now, but I'm going to caution them on the next project.
I have several times too, and I'll do it again tomorrow. She's going to stop by.
So John, do you have a motion for me?
Yep, I'll move that we pay them the overrun of, what's the total there?
24,000 is what they're requesting.
Yeah.
If you're
24,000 and, yeah, we'll just. Okay.
Support. Motion and support. Roll call, please.
Crowner,
Aye.
Johnson,
Reluctantly, aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Over,
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Number 3, consider resolution setting wages for swimming pool employees and authorize city administrator to hire staff for the 2024 pool season.
I would like to table this until the pool committee gets together and have a meeting to discuss things for the pool.
Second.
Motion and second. Greg?
I'll just speak for Kelly. I think her thought was the sooner we get the information out to the public, and she's been doing the comparison numbers and the research on it, the sooner we can advertise for the positions, the better. So I guess the sooner we can get the committee together, the better. Get this going and moving forward.
Suppose we can have.
And I handed out the last year's numbers. You've got those before you too, so.
Have something in 2 weeks, maybe?
When's that
We'll
meeting?
coordinate. Right now, it's just Therese. Kathy was on it at some
Andy.
point in time. What's that?
I think Andy
Andy,
volunteered.
were you going to jump on from an entertainment perspective
If
as
you'd
well?
like me to, I'd be happy to.
Well, then I would hope that within the 2 weeks period, we'll have something we can look at next council meeting.
Well, it looks like we signed this other one back on the 1st of February.
Okay.
We got a month.
And I personally would be okay with something only on the pool manager if we needed to get something running at some point soon, but the rest of these, I think, can wait.
Well, in that case, we have a motion and a second to table this. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 We have motion is tabled. Motion passes, the item is tabled. Go to number 4, consider setting January 8th and January 22nd as the official city council meetings in the month of January 2025.
So moved.
Motion and a support. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries. Last item of business, consider the second reading of an ordinance granting Eastern Iowa Light and Power cooperative and non-exclusive 25-year franchise to furnish and sell electric energy to the city of West Burlington and require Eastern Iowa Light and Power cooperative pay a franchise fee to the city.
So move.
Support?
Motion and support. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying, roll call, sorry, it's an ordinance.
Covert?
Aye.
Browner?
No.
Johnson?
Aye.
Lees?
Aye.
Motion carries. No citizen inquiries. Entertain motion to adjourn.
So move.
Support.
Motion and support. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 We are adjourned.